Welcome to our first episode on motor testing. Today we're going to be talking through the resistance and inductance testing that we do on the electric motors to validate the insertion of our coils. So we're going to take you over here and show you through some of our different little experiments to demonstrate why we do what we do. So as we can see here, we've got two different coils, both with the same number of turns and then made up of three different coils. And actually, if we plug that in, we'll see how that affects the resistance and the inductance. Then when we switch over to the other coil, we can see that the results are both very, very similar. This makes sense because the wire has the same length and also the same number of turns in. So now what do we do when we move on to this next coil? So this next coil here has an extra coil in it with an extra set of turns in it. So this will increase both our resistance and our inductance. And then you can see that on the screen. So the last one I wanted to show you was the effect on the inductance if we have the same resistance value. So this final coil here actually is the same length as the starting two coils. And if we look at the results when we test this particular coil, we can see that our resistance matches, but our inductance is very different. That is because we've got a lower number of turns in this than we did in the first two coils. Now I want to talk to you about the effect of the winding pattern has on the inductance and how we can tell whether we've wound it to the correct pattern or if it's incorrectly wound. So if we move these two coils to one side and we focus on the two coils that showed us the same results previously, but this time we take the first coil and we stretch it out like so. Now we attach the leads up and we look at the effect that has on the inductance. As you can see from the results on screen, the inductance has dropped significantly. In the motor production, this would represent us putting a coil into a wrong slot or putting the coil in the wrong direction. This would tell us if the motor is wound wrong. Now we've seen what happens with the actual test results, let's talk about the motor. So when we come to actually doing the motor itself then, we take these coils and we put them into the motor. Now by doing this resistance and inductance testing, we can test, have we got the right length of wire? Have we got the correct number of turns in the motor? Is it all going to work when we move to the final product?